Hello everyone and welcome to day 3 of Trollvember and my video supplement for the live stream. It's technically day 4 when the time you're watching it, but I digress. Today's prompt was Brawl. So right away I knew I wanted to make some kind of bar fighter, the kind of person you would see just getting in a fight in a bar, causing problems, probably not a great person overall. I wasn't actively thinking of it at the time, but looking back on it, I think I strongly channeled Francis from Left 4 Dead in this character a little bit. So I knew I wanted this to be male, so I gave him the classic male eyes. I gave him some strong blue eyes just to show the intensity there. Gave him some eyebrows that kind of made him look like he's, frowning, angry, whatnot. I had already given 2 characters hoods, so I decided to go with an Osgu this time, which is that cloth fabric that's wrapped around his head to hide the ears. I also wanted to have some hair hanging over that, just to show he's rough and tumble and has unkept hair. And I also wanted to give him a broken tusk. Like one tusk that is just smaller than the other due to it be breaking in combat or something like that. Now this did have the unintended side effect of kind of giving him a DreamWorks smirk, like the kind you would see in Shrek or B-Movie. That was unintended, but I don't know, it also kind of sells the attitude I'm going for a little bit at least. So there is that. Once I had the face down, it was pretty different to get to the body. I knew I wanted him to be rough and tumble, some strong fella, but I also wanted to avoid the problem I had last time, where the outfit just doesn't match the other trolls at all. So what I eventually went with was just a full leather vest, specifically good leather, the treated leather, the hard stuff. Usually I don't make entire clothing bits with that. I don't think I ever have before. Every piece of clothing I have on any troll has only ever had good leather as an outlining or as a belt. It's never been an entire piece of clothing itself. So the idea that he has this entire vest made out of this rare material that denotes wealth in trolls is interesting. Maybe he beat up the right guy to get it. Maybe it's not troll make. Maybe this is a human vest that he bought off some goblins or something that came by. Maybe goblins made it, something like that. I don't know. The end result was pretty good. I did consider, as you can see here, I am giving him a bare chest currently. I did consider giving him a bare chest and putting the vest on top of that, but I already have a character who is like that with a bare chest and a vest on the jacket layer, and I wanted to break things up a little bit. I wanted to have a little bit more variety, so I put that idea aside and just put the vest on top. And this does hide his nipples, unfortunately, but it's fine. It works. It works. Everything is good. I also decided, just for the fun of it, to make holes in the side of the vest where the arms would connect to. Now, if you pose his arms in like extreme ways, then yeah, that kind of mucks things up. But I feel like when he's just walking, those holes are more or less where his arms are connected to his torso. So it might work. Just kind of show that this is a sleeveless vest, that's where they end, that's where his arms begin, all that good stuff. Usually I have a belt made out of good leather, but since his vest is made out of good leather, I had his belts be made out of regular hide. Maybe he invested all his wealth on the vest, I don't know. He's also got a golden belt buckle, because every troll needs at least a little bit of gold, though this guy will be getting a lot more, as you will see coming up. And for pants, I wasn't entirely sure what to do with pants. On the one hand, I wanted to give him a bit more advanced pants, like like you would expect to see in a bar fight kind of fella, but at the same time I also want him to blend in with the other trolls, and a common theme among trolls is loincloths and skirts. So I decided, okay, let's just give him a hide loincloth. Just hide loincloth. It's simple, it's short, it's something. He just has very basic leg wear. Majority of his fashion is in the vest, I think, and a handful of other things. And I decided that since yesterday I couldn't get any black into Granny's outfit, I would put a little bit of black into Brawl Troll's outfit with some black shoes. Now, I am looking over all these other trolls, and I'm noticing very few of them wear shoes. There's only like 2 trolls actively wearing shoes. So this is making this guy unique a little bit. And I wasn't sure how high I wanted these shoes to be. I think around this time I was picturing the scene from Terminator where Arnold comes into a bar and says, "I need your clothes, your boots, and the keys to your motorcycle and all that stuff." And I'm pretty sure the guy he took the clothes from had big boots. That's the kind of guy I'm emulating here, the big biker kind of brawler fella. And, you know, black boots seem to generally fit that aesthetic. Moving on to the arms, I knew I wanted some kind of arm protection. 2 types specifically. I wanted him to have, I don't know if gloves would be the right term. I'm thinking more hand wraps, like he's got bandages wrapped around his hands for protection because he's a puncher, and he's got leather straps on top of those, which themselves are spiked with sapphires. Trolls don't have access to a lot of iron. They really only have access to bone, gold, leathers, and a handful of sapphires. So I thought, okay, I don't know the toughness of gold. I know it's not great to use as a tool. Let's take some sapphires and put them on his knuckles. That could be interesting. That could be good. Maybe he's got some blood splatter on there as well. So I experimented a bit with putting some troll blood on his fists. It didn't turn out too well, so you can expect that to leave, but a lot of time here was spent with fiddling with small details, like the sapphires on the gloves, like where are they, how are they placed, because I moved them along like 8 times here because they are always in just the wrong spot. They don't seem to fit. I can't find a good spot for them. Even here you can see me trying to put the blood on the fists, and it's gonna be going away pretty soon. I also knew that on one arm I wanted a pauldron, a spiked pauldron, the kind that you can sometimes see in XCOM 2 characters, and the pauldron itself would be spiked with gold, so there would be golden spikes on that pauldron. A simple leather pauldron seemed a bit boring, so I outlined it in red just to add additional color, and that seemed to go pretty well. I wasn't sure if I wanted the pauldron on the skin layer or on the jacket layer. It started out on the on the skin layer, but eventually I do move it to the jacket layer just because I can't seem to get the spikes going with it. Having the spikes be on the jacket layer while the pauldron itself is on the skin layer sounds like a great idea, but I just could not get it to work right. I couldn't get it to look good. So eventually the pauldron gets moved to the jacket layer with the spikes as well, and then the arm itself is just bare. On his other arm, I wanted something like a forearm guard, like something you would see between the elbow and the wrist. This, again, is spiked with gold, but it's much smaller, so there's less room for spikes. Again, I tried outlining it with red, but considering its size, how much smaller it is than the pauldron, there just isn't a lot of space for it. So the red outline eventually goes away. I also experiment with giving him some knee protection and knee guards, that kind of thing. But yeah, the model wasn't super great. It had its problems. The knee pads kind of blended together, the pauldron and the forearm guard were both clearly in the wrong place. The sapphires didn't look too good. They looked more like claws than knuckle spikes than anything. The good news is I did like the hair that I gave him. And the vest and the head and everything else worked. The majority of the design with this character was effectively just fiddling with the pauldrons, the spikes, the sapphires, all that other stuff. So I tried fiddling with some other things. I decided to give him a leather strap just above his boots, just to, I don't know, make them pop, make them look a little more interesting, make them look bigger. And I like that, and I liked the extra height on the boots. I think that looked pretty good. But the end result of everything else, it needed to change. So I noticed that on his hair layer underneath the hat, he kind of looked bald, so I had to adjust his hair there. Eventually decided to give him a bit of a widow's peak. I also had a bit of a jacket layer that I wanted to play with. I didn't know entirely what to put there, so I thought about putting a sash there with maybe some kind of a weapon on his back, a bone club, that turned it out to be. Originally, I decided to make the sash out of hide, but I noticed that the sash was the same color as his loincloth, the same material, so it kind of blended in too much. So I decided, okay, let's try mixing it up. Let's try changing something. So I tried my hand at making it cloth, making it white instead. That didn't look good. It blended too much with the bone club, so I decided to change it to black material like his shoes. I also played around with the connections points between his arms and his shoulders, and a lot of the rest of the development was spent on figuring out the golden spikes and the placement of the sapphires. I still wanted those sapphires on his knuckles. So what I wound up doing is just moving everything on his arms up by 1 pixel and adding an additional layer of cloth underneath the leather strap. And I once again tried putting the sapphires on the sleeve layer. That still didn't end up working too well, so eventually I ended up putting it on the strap itself. I also tried putting the spikes on again. There was a lot of fiddling with the spikes. I'll save you the details. It's just to keep this video short. It's going on too long as it is. And yeah, eventually we got our brawler troll, a fighter, probably a bad guy in general, someone who looks for fights and gets into fights with anyone he comes across. Eventually I figure out the sapphires and the spikes. No other major changes really happened. It's just a lot of time fiddling with that. And yeah, that is Trollvember Day 3. So starting tomorrow, or today I suppose, when this is uploaded, we will be doing Day 4, Blacksmith. And once again, you can follow the link down in the description to my Twitch channel if you would like to watch and take part. In the meantime, I'm going to have to say, my name is TamTroll. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like if you liked it, don't if you didn't, and I will see you next time. Farewell!